Hey, how's it going? So another visual story novel game by the same developers, but it looks like they got help from Mojiken Studios. Alright, I see you guys. It's another visual story novel game, so you're probably wondering, why the hell would I play this? Especially after my thoughts on Coffee Talk. Why would I even think of getting this game? Well, I did say I enjoyed Coffee Talk's world and experience. It's just the gameplay that felt flat for me. So what about this game? Well, it's a love story and also about letting go. Alright, I'm intrigued. Well, enough with the setup. Let's just dive right into it. Once again, this is a game best enjoyed blind, but unlike Coffee Talk, I really can't give a simple synopsis this time, since the story here is more driven by just two characters and the relationship these two have, while also being a major integral part of the game. So this time the warning is, just come back later. If you love visual novel games, just go buy it. This game is only $7. Just be aware that the game is only an hour long, but it is an amazing story. For the rest of you that are still aren't sure, let's start with that story. So when the past was around, it is very symbolic. There will be many times where it may get confusing, but if you have taken an English class and passed it, you can get the gist of it. So the prologue starts us off by showing us this girl and a mysterious figure in a birdcage. What kind of BDSM shit is this? When you click on the cage, it transitions to a room with the girl and that mysterious figure there. As you solve the puzzles, you see clues that these two are in a relationship and are most likely living together. As you keep solving the puzzles, you start to see the features of the figure and start to see that the figure is an owl. Okay, this studio has to be filled with a bunch of furries. That is 2 games with these types of character designs. You know, I shouldn't judge, and I won't. I'm not going to. I respect the creativity these developers have. They've made worlds where multiple species exist together, and it feels natural. I'm also a Sonic fan, so it's not like it matters or anything. The prologue just introduces the figure and shows the start of the relationship, or at least the relationship these two were in. Once all the puzzles are solved, it does show what the figure looks like. He then plays a song for his girlfriend, and this guy is such a good musician, she transcends to a higher plane. And then the violin breaks, and the game officially begins. After the prologue and her reaching the violin with it breaking, you see her suddenly at a gravesite where she then hears music coming from the tomb and desperately wants to get in. Once you solve the quick simple puzzle to get in, you see once again the shadow figure in that birdcage, and then solve more puzzles to be able to see what the shadow figure presents to you. He shows a music box and you warp to the time showing the initial start of the relationship. First you see the girl, most likely in her apartment, and see pictures of what she used to do. She's a graduate, a violinist prodigy, and can afford her own place after graduating, so obviously this game does not take place in the United States. After she finds the music box that plays a familiar tune, listening to that tune, you warp back to the tomb and the figure shows you another item. Clicking on the item, you warp to the girl with the music box at a cafe where she hears the music tune again, but instead of the song coming from the box, she hears it from outside. After paying off her tab and reaching a park garden area, you find the owl again, playing the violin for some random people at the park. Once again, the music reaches her soul, and afterwards, she sneezes, and the owl then gives her a scarf so she won't be cold. How nice. Transitioning back to the tomb, the figure then shows a journal, and after clicking on it, you transfer to the moments they were together. You start at the girl's house, drinking coffee and tea, where the game makes you serve them their coffee with snacks. And what is this? I'm their butler? Like, what the hell is this? Serve yourselves, you lazy fucks. I am a magical cursor, but fine, whatever. Here's your drinks. Whatever, that aside, you then transition to the beach from a magical door. So either the owl boyfriend is a wizard, or this is just her reminiscing through her memories. You can interpret that as you wish. After you see them on a date at the beach, solve the puzzle there, and then transition to a mountainside cliff date where they look at the stars. And real quick, these two are romantic as hell. Like, you see this shit? Y'all better take some fucking notes. So far, this couple's dates have been really nice and super romantic. Every time you solve the puzzle in each of the 3 rooms, Al would take a picture of her and place it in the same journal that transitioned you here. And he writes song notes and just has a journal of her, which is really adorable. By the end of the 3 rooms, you then have Al playing the flute and Ida, the girl who you find out her name because of a sandwich, and yo, this guy literally made her a sandwich and wrote her name with the ketchup. Bro, this guy is so extra, and I like that shit. I'm all for it. You guys, take some notes. As the 2 play their song, you hear a beautiful song between them, but as the 2 are playing, Al suddenly coughs and collapses, ultimately worrying her, and everything begins to get darker around. You flash back to the tomb once again, where Ida is now laying on the floor. And I mean, remembering your boyfriend's sickness collapsing at the mountainside, yeah, I would be on the floor worried too. After she gets up and you light the tomb again, the shadow shows her a feather, and clicking the feather then transitions you to Ida's place, with Al and her now living together. But Al is sick, and Ida, just by her face, you can see how worried she is for Al. But Al comforts her, like, hey, I'm good, I just need my medicine and scarf, don't worry. Once you give him the things he asked for, he serenades her with his violin and she enjoys the music. Al then walks outside with Ida following suit, and you see arguably the most realistic thing about a couple in this game, where Ida is upset with him that he's outside, and he just kind of looks at her like, oh, sorry. But Al is still coughing, and as he asks you for some flowers with medicine, and while you're trying to get the flowers, you see that every time Al coughs, Ida gets so worried. It's those subtle little things that add to the character's worries and feelings. These subtle little touches is what really drives a lot of this stuff home. Once you give Al the flowers and medication, he then makes her a flower crown, places it on her, and just gives her a kiss on the forehead, and suddenly they start floating. And if you guys have ever been in love, you guys will understand what is being expressed through these scenes. You'll understand. Once Al heads back inside, Ida goes inside and hears that familiar tune, heading towards its direction. Suddenly, it stops and Al begins coughing, and you hear him collapse on the floor, with everything going dark. After solving some puzzles to go into the room, you see Al on the ground where he asks for his medicine, and in a worried-filled state, Ida tosses the entire house up and down and all around just to get Al his medicine. You give him the medicine, and Al instead presents to you a withered feather. As you click on it, Ida's hand gets closer and closer with a heartbeat following every time. You get closer to grab the feather and it suddenly fades away, and after Ida collectively loses it with everything getting darker and more chaotic, showing how distraught she is over this, the game then transitions her from her normal dress to her black dress from the tomb, where a single door appears in a black void. You enter the door, you return to the previous areas from the game, and find a musical note, then have Al take you through a door. After collecting the notes, you are taken back to the tomb, where you then have to place all the feathers you got from the pedestals. And as you do this, you see that Ida is comforted by the shadow figure, who, let's be real, you should have figured out that it's been Al this entire time. But as the feathers are combined to one, Al appears, and Ida, almost as if she has been reminiscing, sees all her memories she has of him. And once the memories are played, she appears with a new haircut and with a shadow figure. She then plays on her new violin, and as she plays the song, the cage begins to break. And once it shatters, it reveals that the shadow figure was Al all along, if you didn't figure it out. Overjoyed, she cries and hugs Al, and now stands in a white void and walks into the door where they return back to the mountain and play a song together. And while it may seem to some that Al was resurrected, as the credits roll and as their song comes to a close, Al begins to fade away, and Ida grabs his scarf and looks towards the horizon, bringing the game to a close, ending the story with Ida in a much more healed state. Damn, guys. This game is actually super emotional, and it's a very well done story. This game not only shows you a couple that do love each other, The way the art is drawn, you can see in their faces and eyes just how much they care. Oh my gosh, Al is such a sweetheart. Even when he kind of knows he's dying, he still comforts her and is there for Ida. That's so sweet. And the way Ida is so worried to lose him, it's just, oh my gosh, my heart. Man, fuck these studios. They're breaking my heart. This is such a beautiful relationship between Al and Ida. But not just that, it's also a beautiful story about death. While some may not like it because it's not straightforward, it is very symbolic. And the game's story is definitely centered around that. You are a girl remembering your time with your boyfriend, but also by the end accepting to terms that he is now gone. And let's be real, that is something very sad to think about, but it is something that happens when you lose a loved one. Losing a loved one causes an amount of stress and trauma that when one experiences, it is rough, and the story does a good job showing that. Seeing her just scream and cry with agony once Al is gone is just powerful. Not just that, but you even see some clues of the bad stuff in the near beginning. She's picking up all her belongings from the floor, and you wonder, why? Only to realize afterwards that this was the aftermath since she was scrambling to find the pills for Al. This story makes you love these two, and it makes you feel the pain when hearing Al collapse. When I first played this game, I thought, why am I serving these two drinks? I am not your waiter. Like, why is this the puzzle? But by the time we get to Al collapsing, I was just as worried as Ida, wanting to reach him as fast as possible because, yo, that's the dude! He's such a Chad! We gotta save him. I may be a magical cursor, but I am this couple's magical cursor. This story is amazing, and that alone makes me want people to experience this because unlike Coffee Talk, the emotional beats here are easier to follow because while not everyone may struggle with confidence, not everyone may struggle with time management, writer's block, or finding a drink to not become a feral werewolf. Trust me, that's super relatable right there. Not everybody knows what that's like, but most people know what it's like to be in love. Most people know what it's like to lose someone. Most people have experienced that. And to the group of you saying that you have never experienced that, you will. Whether it is a pet, family member, friend, or significant other, there will come a day where you feel love. The day where you will be afraid to lose that love, and the day you may lose it. But it is still beautiful to have that love in that moment. And a game like this can also show you how to subtly heal. Okay, maybe not heal, but it can show you some of the things you can do to at least some coping mechanisms. Even with the last design Ida has, she did one of the things that people do when they are distraught over a lost love. Getting a haircut. That's just one of them. And it just shows how much thought went into the story. Also, the music adds on to the emotional bits. The music this time actually kind of ties into the story. While the music isn't as varied like in Coffee Talk, it's still calming and sweet to listen to, and this time having more emotion tied to it since most of the time the music represents their love, and the music giving the sense of love and sadness when needed just added to the dynamic these two have. My applause to the music team for this. They even had a violinist involved. And that's just amazing. With the design of the music being tied to the story, it just adds to the raw emotion. Like I said, you can see the worried look on Ida. You can see that all just from the art of the game. It's actually like something from an art museum or an art class. It's beautiful, and again, that raw look of emotion just there, it's just, my gosh, this game tugs on your heartstrings. So, some of you might be wondering, what about gameplay? Because I gave Coffee Talk a lot of shit for lagging in the gameplay department. So you're probably wondering, damn, he's about to destroy this game. But no, I actually think this game is fun. I think the gameplay here is a lot more fun than Coffee Talk. Again, it is a simple click and point game, but this time the game makes you solve puzzles, and the puzzles can get kinda hard. Not intensely hard, but it still provides an amount of challenge that I think is respectable. You click and point using the cursor to solve the puzzles, and you can also interact with things in the environment outside of solving those puzzles. It can make your magical cursor kinda look like a dick. Aw, Ida's crying on a gravesite and we have to get in the tomb? Well, fuck these other graves. This story's about Al. chilling in her house, let's drop all the pots from the ceiling for absolutely no reason except to be an asshole. Or open all the windows at the cafe. $5,000 for coffee? Man, fuck your windows. You know what? That one's justified. Open the damn windows. That is the gameplay. It's a simple click and point, but the puzzle mechanics and finding the solutions is what makes it fun. Because just like Coffee Talk, I have played this game 3 times now. But I spread out each playthrough so that the puzzle solutions were never always fresh in my mind. I never remembered quite exactly how to solve it, but it still provided a challenge. And the story is still really heartwarming, and that could be because this story is a good show don't tell. Coffee Talk is a lot of reading, which makes you ask, why don't I just read a graphic novel? But at not one point does Ida or Al speak. Everything is shown. Their love, her sadness, her worry, absolutely everything is shown but not stated. This is a game English majors will have a field day with, and fellow psych majors may enjoy it because they may try to dive deep into her emotional trauma. But this game is beautiful. It's a beautiful visual novel and a fun puzzle game, which is why I feel this game is worth it, because it tackles topics that more people can relate to and is more interactive than Coffee Talk. But both are still good experiences. This game made me love visual novels, but without Coffee Talk and the experience that game provided, I wouldn't have given this game a shot. When the Past Was Around is beautiful. If you guys want to play this and show your friends, do it! It is so beautiful and heartfelt that it may get some of you guys on the verge of tears. Not me though. It takes a lot for me to cry. It's so beautiful. So that's my thoughts on When the Past Was Around. I think it's a beautiful game, and I think it's definitely worth people checking out and showing support to the developers. But I think I'm done with visual story novel games for a while. I want something with a little more mayhem, a little more chaos. Maybe bring in a co-leader. Alright, that about sums it up. You guys have a good one and take care.